Imagine waking up tomorrow and your entire city is locked inside a 9-foot wall of dirt, with 50,000 armed men coming door to door to wipe you out. That's not a horror movie. That's al-Bashir, Sudan. Right now, hundreds already dead in one hospital alone. Blood so thick you can see it from space. Smash that like button if you're ready for the most insane 10 minutes on YouTube this week, because what I'm about to drop will leave your jaw on the floor. Let's dive in. Yo, what's up, legends? If you're new here, hit subscribe real quick because we're about to unpack the wildest true story you've never heard of. Trust me, you're not clicking away after this one. Welcome back. The story we're about to dive into is crucial, but it's tough. You need to know what's happening in Sudan, specifically in a city called al-Bashir. The events of the last few days have marked a devastating turning point in an already brutal civil war. Stick with me through this whole video because the next part, the breakdown of the forces and why this is happening, is even more intense. If you believe stories like this need to be told, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support helps us cover the stories that mainstream media often overlooks. Let's set the scene. Sudan has been gripped by a horrific civil war since April 2023. It's basically a vicious power struggle between two giants: the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, which is the official military, and the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, a powerful, organized paramilitary group. These two sides, who were once uneasy allies, fell out over how and when the RSF should be integrated into the SAF. The military wanted it done in 2 years, keeping the RSF subordinate. The RSF wanted 10 years and equal command. A classic power struggle, but with catastrophic consequences. Now, fast forward to the last few days of October. We saw a major, terrifying escalation. The RSF successfully captured al-Bashir. Why is that significant? Al-Bashir was the last major SAF-held city in North Darfur. It was essentially a humanitarian hub, a lifeline, sheltering an estimated 260,000 people. When the SAF forces quietly withdrew, the RSF forces poured in, and that's when the systematic rampage began. The hospital massacre and door-to-door killings. The first major alarm bell came from a hospital, the Saudi hospital in al-Bashir. We heard reports, later corroborated by the Associated Press, that the RSF went in and murdered hundreds of people, including patients. Let me repeat that. They murdered patients and their companions. A shocking, blatant violation of every international law imaginable. The World Health Organization's Director General confirmed this atrocity. But that was just the beginning. The RSF didn't stop there. Reports, eyewitness testimony, and even their own published videos show their fighters going house to house, methodically clearing homes. Clearing is a sanitized word for what they were actually doing. Killing every man, woman, and child they found. This isn't just random street fighting. This is a deliberate, targeted campaign against the civilian population. And the scale of this humanitarian disaster is staggering. The UN is calling it the world's largest humanitarian crisis, with over 150,000 people dead and nearly 12 million people forced to flee their homes across Sudan since the war began. Host 4. Proof from space. The satellite imagery now, here's the unbelievable part. The evidence of these massacres isn't just coming from shaky phone videos and terrified survivors. It's coming from space. The Yale School of Public Health's Humanitarian Research Lab released imagery that documented this violence. What did they see? Clusters of objects. Satellite photos from October 27th showed clusters of light and dark-colored objects consistent with the size of human bodies. Reddish discoloration. They noted significant reddish discoloration on the ground consistent with bloodstains. That wasn't present in prior imagery. Tactical vehicles. Multiple military vehicles were present near these clusters, which, based on reports that the SAF military had withdrawn, strongly suggests these house-to-house operations were focused exclusively on civilians. Think about that for a second. The carnage is so widespread, so concentrated, that you can see the results of mass killings from a satellite hundreds of miles up. Host. This brings us to the most horrifying detail about al-Bashir. CNN quoted Nathaniel Raymond from the Yale lab, who used a chilling term, killbox. Why a killbox? Because the Rapid Support Forces have completely sealed the city. They surrounded al-Bashir with a massive earthen wall, or a berm, that's reportedly as high as 9 feet. Civilians trying to flee, desperate to escape the violence, were shot as they tried to climb over this wall. They were, quite literally, walled in to be systematically murdered. The RSF wasn't just clearing the city. They were ensuring no one got out. Host 5. Who are the RSF and their backers? To understand the gravity of the situation, we need a closer look at the two main forces, especially the RSF. The SAF, Sudanese Armed Forces, they are the official military, aiming for centralized control. They receive backing to varying degrees from countries like Egypt, Turkey, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. The RSF, Rapid Support Forces, they are the ruthless paramilitary organization. Their backing is key. They receive support from the UAE and, critically, have ties to the remnants of the notorious Russian Wagner Group. This outside support provides them with resources and, potentially, the military muscle and expertise to carry out such systematic atrocities. While the SAF has also been accused of indiscriminate shelling, the most brutal, focused, door-to-door atrocities like the one we're seeing now are primarily attributed to the RSF. Beyond the killing, sexual violence and denial, the reports get even darker. This conflict isn't just about guns and bullets. It's about widespread, horrific abuse. Videos shared online show RSF fighters rounding up unarmed people, killing them, and even explicitly saying, "Catch the girls." For years now, a hallmark of the RSF's actions has been the capturing and widespread rape of women and young girls. As these atrocities unfold in al-Bashir, we must recognize that alongside the cold-blooded killings, a large number of young women are likely being subjected to sexual violence daily. This is a devastating tactic of war being deployed against the most vulnerable. The RSF, led by Chief Mohammed Hemedti Dagalo, has attempted to push back against the condemnation. While Hemedti himself acknowledged violations and promised an investigative committee, the RSF officially denied the hospital killings, calling them fabricated narratives. But as we've seen, the evidence, from survivors, videos, and satellites, paints a damning, undeniable picture. International organizations are sounding the alarm. The UN Human Rights Office stated they are receiving multiple alarming reports of atrocities and summary executions, warning of a growing risk of large-scale ethnically motivated violations. They're pleading for concrete action and safe passage for the trapped civilians. But right now, action is slow. We're seeing more condemnation, more vocal outcry from countries and organizations, but very little in terms of direct, decisive intervention. As American viewers, you might be asking, what is the U.S. response? So far, it's been minimal, mostly limited to expected condemnations. The situation on the ground in Sudan is one of relentless, systemic horror. A massive civilian population is trapped in a city surrounded by a wall, with an army notorious for mass atrocities hunting them down. It's our job to keep talking about this, to keep the pressure on. Sudan's civil war has reached a new level of horror. Go inside al-Bashir, the city the RSF, Rapid Support Forces, turned into a kill box. We analyzed the shocking satellite imagery proof confirming hundreds of civilians were slaughtered in a hospital and hunted in house-to-house massacres. Learn about the forces, SAF versus RSF, and the international backers keeping the violence going in what the UN calls the world's largest humanitarian crisis. Subscribe to Time Capsule for vital, underreported history and current events. Because as long as the world is silent, the terror will continue. We did our best to bring you the facts and the horrifying context of what's unfolding in al-Bashir. What did you think about the fact that satellite images confirmed the extent of this violence? Let me know in the comments below. And please, if this story resonated with you, share this video. Share it to your friends, your family, and your social media. The most powerful action we can take right now is to deny this atrocity the silence it relies on. For more deep dive analyses on global events and hidden history, make sure you subscribe. We'll keep you updated as more information becomes available. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.